Welcome back, everyone. Today, Alex and I are discussing the recruiting funnel and the journey that led to its adoption. Alex, why don't you start by telling us what exactly the recruiting funnel is?
Tyler, there was a time when our recruiting process felt like we were just lost in a never-ending maze. We were drowning in confusion. Recruiters were desperately trying to implement new systems that we were on, new automations, but nothing seemed to stick. So, everybody was really frustrated and overwhelmed, knowing we needed a better way to deliver quality candidates to our clients so we could all achieve our goals, but it just wasn't happening. And one day in a tense meeting, we're up on the whiteboard trying to figure it out, and it hit us like a lightning bolt. Why not use a recruiting funnel? We were applying all of these sales tactics to how we were recruiting. So why not use the concept of a sales funnel as a way to visualize and simplify our understanding of the recruiting process, get us all on the same page and start working from there. So we reorganized everything we were doing into 3 clear stages: attract, qualify, and select. It wasn't easy. At first, we were struggling with categorizing activities, and we were frustrated as we encountered so many little decisions we needed to make about what went where. But over time, our new approach, it transformed everything, man. Like, our process became streamlined, it became predictable. We had essentially optimized our recruiting process, then we could move on to automating as much as we could. And then as a result, we got faster. Candidates had a smoother candidate experience. Our clients were excited about the opportunity to get strategic insights that were easy to understand through these visuals we were providing them. And frankly, the journey taught us that we were probably right. Recruiting is a lot like sales. And if we just apply these really well-designed sales principles to recruiting processes, it can make all the difference to the outcomes. So let's go from there, man.
That's a really insightful journey, Alex. It sounds like you made a big leap by applying a concept from sales to recruiting. I'm curious, though, what were some of the specific challenges you faced when you were transitioning to this funnel method, and how did you overcome them?
Like I said, I think one of the biggest ones was, where does each activity fall? So having really clearly defined overarching kind of theory of what happens in each phase, and then deciding or committing to an understanding of where each activity falls. So for example, where do you put candidate engagement, like messaging back and forth with the candidate, but you haven't had a conversation with them yet? Does that fall in attract, or does that fall under qualify? Those are the kinds of little decisions that need to be made as we were building out our funnel. And that was, I think, frustrating for everybody involved. But once we all got on the same page, once we really established what our worldview was about this, everything got simpler.
Got it. So it sounds like defining each phase and deciding where specific activities fit was critical. Once you had that clarity, it became a lot easier to streamline the process. Now, for our listeners who might be dealing with similar frustrations, what advice would you give them if they are considering adopting a recruiting funnel approach?
So I think the major commitment that we made was that we were going to commit to having, I think it was twofold. One was to designing a candidate funnel around optimizing for the outcome we wanted, which was accepted offers. So we optimized not for our experience, but for the candidate experience. So I think that was the first major decision we made, is what are we going to optimize our funnel for? We decided to optimize our funnel for the outcome that our clients wanted, which was candidates accepting offers. I think that's a big point, is that if you're going to get what you optimize for, if you're an internal recruiter charged with this and you're optimizing for your own experience, it's going to probably negatively impact your candidate experience, and vice versa. Focusing on candidate experience is going to cause some frustrations in the process for you as the implementers. So that would be number one, is choosing what we're going to optimize for, really committing to that. And then the second piece is committing to the process for all the roles and just saying, hey, this is the way that we're going to do recruiting. We're going to optimize this process for every single role in the organization. And I think the reason that's really important is because if you're always trying to do something new, you don't really learn anything. You can't really improve on the sub-components of the process, those individual stages. For example, if you're always responding to an applicant in a different way, if you respond to applicants to a field labor role differently than you would reply to applicants to a CFO role, by not standardizing, you're not able to optimize. So that's the sacrifice you're going to make. It's never going to work unless you and the organization are committed to standardization and then optimization.
That's really insightful, Alex. It sounds like the key takeaways are to intentionally design your funnel with a clear focus on optimizing for the right outcomes and committing to a standardized process across the board. By doing this, you can ensure consistency and ultimately improve the candidate experience and the effectiveness of your recruiting efforts. Listeners, if you're considering adopting a recruiting funnel, remember to choose what you're optimizing for and commit to a standardized process. It may be tough at first, but it can lead to significant improvements in the long run. So thanks for sharing your journey and insights, Alex. This has been a great discussion. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, thanks, Tyler.
All right, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you next time.